Hey everyone, it's the final round and welcome to all of my fellow fans of violence. We have UFC 289 tonight. The card, it's not too great. It's not worth the pay-per-view price, I don't think, but there are some great fights in store for us, and you never know with some of the prelim fights and some of the lower tier fighters. Sometimes they put on a great show for us. But I went back and forth on whether I wanted to make a UFC video or not. With some picks, but I decided to do it for the heck of it. Last UFC video, I got 3 out of 5 right. UFC is probably the most unpredictable sport there is. We had the heaviest favorite last week lose to a guy who came out on short notice and went up a weight class. He got knocked out, so you just never know with this sport. But I think it's fun, and with the unpredictability, it just makes it even more fun. So I'm gonna try my best with my picks, and I just really enjoy doing these videos. So if you like to discuss more, I have a Discord. The link is in the description. The UFC channel, there isn't too much discussion going on there. A lot of the other sports, like baseball and NBA, WNBA is getting a lot more attention. If you'd like to just join and just talk about other lines and betting, the Discord is free and I don't charge for these picks. I'm not hiding anything. If you do well and you feel like giving back, I have a Cash App and a Venmo in the description. So if you guys can, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and if you have a little bit of extra time, can you leave a comment for the algorithm? Any comment works. You can tell me who you think is going to win tonight in the Nunes fight or the Dariush fight. It doesn't matter. It just tells YouTube to get that video out there for more people to see. So thank you for the people who do comment. And the 2 apps that I'm partnered with that do have UFC are Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FINALROUND11. They'll match your first deposit up to $100. And also ParlayPlay has UFC and they'll match your first deposit up to $100. And ParlayPlay has a 7-pick all the way up to 75x. And if you want to give those a try, I'll have links in the pinned comments for those apps. Before these picks, I'll be using Prizepicks because I know that's the most popular one to help make the picks, and hopefully they'll translate over to other apps like Underdog. And my first pick is going to be the first fight of the night. It's going to be Maria Oliveira, over 77.5 significant strikes. She's going up against Diana Belvira. Both of these women like to strike. They just throw punches in high volume. And when you get fights like this, most of the time they go the distance, especially when it's a women's fight, and you just get a high volume of strikes. Oliveira, over her past 2 fights, has gone over this 77.5 mark. So I expect this fight to go the distance, and I expect them just to keep throwing shots just back and forth, and her to go over this significant strike mark. Second pace can be Dan Ige, under 12.5 minutes against Nate the Train Landwehr. That is 2.5 rounds. So Nate the Train is known for being really tough. He's had a lot of battles. He's got a really strong chin, but part of that is he takes damage to try to give damage, and he's pretty much like a punching bag. You can just keep punching him and he's gonna keep trying to swing back. I think he's met his match here with Dan Ige, who's got a ton of power and should finish this early. You want to have head movement against someone like Dan Ige. You don't want to be a punching bag, or he's going to hit your chin and you're going to go to sleep. Everyone is human, even Nate the Train. So I'm looking at the under 2.5 rounds for Dan Ige. And third place can be Mike Malott, under 8.5 minutes. That's 1.5 rounds. He's going up against good competition in Adam Fugit. All of his UFC fights have ended in the first round. I expect Adam Fugit to be a tougher matchup than all the ones he's had in the past. But the reason why I'm going with under 1.5 round is because this is in Canada and Mike Malott is Canada's prospect. Like, you may not think that location makes a difference, but we saw it with the England fights. I believe every single fighter from there won their fight, whether they were an underdog or not. When Mike Malott gets his name called and the crowd goes crazy, it just gives you a different type of energy, and he's going to be doing his best to try to end this in the first round, and he should be able to do it even with tougher competition against Adam Fugate. If he gets into the second round and a little bit further, it's going to be deep water that Mike Malott's not used to, but since this is in Canada, I'm going with the under on 1.5 rounds. In my fourth pick is going to be Blake Builder up against Kyle Nelson. Now, Kyle Nelson is not very good. He doesn't have a very good record in the UFC. I'm looking at Blake Builder's over 96.5 fantasy score. Kyle Nelson, he has a low gas tank. He's going to try to do as much as he can in that first round, and if he can't do anything, he's going to gas out. Blake Builder is really good. His first fight, he had over 100 significant strikes. He's high volume, high pace. He should win this inside the distance. And when it comes to fantasy score, you don't want someone to go to decision. Kyle Nelson is tough, but he's just not that great. So I expect Blake Builder to be able to finish him inside the distance. Hopefully we get a first or second round finish, and then he should go over this fantasy score pretty easily. In fifth pick, I'm going with Beneil Dariush, over 79.5 fantasy score. Now, he normally doesn't score too great fantasy-wise whenever he goes the distance, which his past few fights have gone the distance. But Charles Oliveira, he's been hurt the past few fights. Beneil Dariush hasn't been given that title shot, and he's been just on a tear lately. Dariush is a great striker. He's just almost better. He's better all around. Dariush isn't going to be afraid to go on the ground with him. He's a better wrestler. I expect this fight to get violent very early, and I expect Dariush to be able to finish him in probably second round. But I don't think this is going to go to the judges. Dariush has that power to be able to knock down Oliveira like we saw Islam Makhachev do, and he's not going to be afraid to go down on the ground with Oliveira. So with that early finish, once again, he should be able to break fantasy score, and if he gets a knockdown, that's 12 extra points. That's huge for Prizepicks fantasy, or any other fantasy. So even though Oliveira was a great champion and had a great run, I think this is going to be Dariush's time to get the win and move on and hopefully get the title shot that he deserves. So that is my 5 picks for the UFC that I saw on Prizepicks. Let me know in the comments if you guys see anything else that you like. Either way, it should be a fun night tonight, even though the card isn't too great. I got my Charlotte autographed poster in the back, and I will be getting one whenever I go to Jacksonville. I'll be getting all the autographs of all the fighters, so that should be fun. I've had some people in the comments section saying they're going to Jacksonville. If you're watching this and you live in Jacksonville, once again, let me know the good places to eat, even if I have to drive a little bit outside of the main part of the city. I hope you do well with all your picks, whether it's baseball or UFC or golf, whatever you're doing it on. But God bless you all. It's the final round. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.